And Grand Rapids said, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, because the stupid Escort was like 12 grand. And I drive with it's $39.95. I said, okay.
Did you get the one with the option?
I didn't ever have a problem. You know, she drove that thing all the way through junior, senior high, drove it from Michigan to here, from here to McAllen, or actually McAllen, Texas, and drove for 2 more years, never had a problem. The little thing ran like a sewing machine. That was a 1971 Fiat in disguise. That was what it was. And it was a killer little car. The only thing that pissed you off is brake pads are expensive as shit, like buying Hondas, for God's sakes. But the little car did exactly what it was supposed to do, if you paid attention to it. And I went out to Malcolm's ranch, which was another debacle, and see, that's another thing he was able to do. He had a 17,000 acre ranch. Never paid a payment. Had payroll $60,000 a month. Had a helicopter. Had a twin engine jet. Had 22 miles of roads in this thing. Now, he had a creek or a river, beautiful thing, come right up, they rerouted it right over by the patio so you could walk across a little bridge and see the trout swim by. Unbelievable place. He had a building the size of this one, 2 stories, that was the gun supply. He had an archery in the place. He had a pinball room full of toys. No key slots. Just play them, have fun. You know, Malcolm had a cook and a table that would seat like 40 people in his ranch. He had a Olympic swimming pool. He had all of the things that you have for gymnastics in this place. Amazing how he would be able to get this shit and not pay for it. But let me tell you the best idea the man ever had. And this one kind of break your mind. I was in Louisville, Kentucky buying pool tables. And Malcolm called, got Stacy, my daughter. She said, well, he's in Louisville. Well, I got to talk to him. Well, here's his phone number. Malcolm says, I'm sending him a plane. I said, for what? Well, I want you to come out to the ranch. I said, for what? I'll build a new car. Well, I haven't got time, Malcolm. I'm doing business of my own. Call me in my office Monday. So he calls me up and he says, I want to send him a plane. I said, Malcolm, what in the hell are you talking about? Yada, yada, yada. I said, well, I haven't got time right now, but call me a little later. Well, finally, I did it. And I took out a pair of jeans and a pair of slacks, and I got on a 14-passenger jet plane by myself. A pilot and a co-pilot. They flew me to Meeker, Colorado. Got in the airplane. Guy picks up my little duffel bag, and off we go to the helicopter, which I do not like. Don't like helicopters at all. And especially them glass ones. We're all around this glass. And the guy tells me, this is an old something Bell, and we hot rodded it. It's now got a jet turbine motor. I said, what did it have before, a wind-up spring? And he said, no, that's all right. So here we go. This is a out-of-work airport, or Air Force guy. Over the trees and down the river. We go up to 7,000 feet. We land next to a nice building that's got the troughs on the building are polished copper. The roof is ceramic tile. The bricks are glassed. And then there's a conference table that's this long in black and gray marble. Around it are chairs which represent the skylines of all of the major metropolis areas on the north in America. New York City, Los Angeles, yada yada. This little ensemble costs $250,000. This is Malcolm's, this is his art time. Now we had 5 houses, so there were 5 ranches there. Living there were artists from Soho in New York. All of the gas tanks for the propane were artists' renditions of something or other. Okay? This place was like La La Land, that's what I call it. And he flies Frank in from Texas, me in from Virginia, and we're looking around at this thing. So, okay, what are we here for? We're going to make a new Bricklin. Okay. What does it do? You know, yada yada. Then comes an entourage from New York City. And we go through entertaining them with this new Bricklin proposal. It's going to look like the Bricklin, but not be metal, be made in America, you know, on and on and on. Or China. Oh, okay. And Malcolm said, this is 88, China's where it's at. They're going to have infrastructure. They're going to buy more cars than anybody else. They're going to buy more motorcycles or electric bicycles. That's where he also got in the bicycle business. And we made electric bikes. And he said, this is what's going to happen. I said, okay. Another guy flies in from New York City, is working on a reel-to-reel big computer, programming dealers across America. All car dealers. Well, I'm doing my thing. I'm worrying about how to make a waffle motor work and, you know, how to build a car. Malcolm gets out, when I got out of the helicopter, he says, here, come on, get my Land Rover. Tell me where you want your building and house. I said, whoa, I got a mountain house in Virginia, I don't want to move. I'm not going to move. We're not going to build a goddamn car in Colorado. So we discussed that a little bit, and we went around, and we got the entourage in from the New York bunch, and they asked a lot of fairly intelligent questions, but not particularly. And Frank and I fielded all that stuff, and we told them how we would do what we were going to do. And then the Chinese showed up from Taiwan. They have got $1 billion cash. And they got some smart dudes there. They brought in the head of the mathematics department of Peking University. That was a little hard to deal with. You know, he knew his formulas. And they also are very difficult to deal with. You haven't dealt with them. Because the chairman of the company spoke better English than I do. But he didn't say he did. They would speak Chinese. And we didn't know what the hell was going on. So we were always in the dark of everything. And we weren't big enough to do it like one of my friends does, who's 6'10". He gets up and walks out. If you're talking English to him, if you don't, Duncan leaves. And all he does is travel the world. Long story short, we go over this deal, and it looks pretty good. Now, how does this work? This is where it gets really exciting. The guy from New York is plotting the dealers because Malcolm is sending out letters of intent to purchase your dealership. What do you want for it? $10 million? Good, we'll pay it. You stay on contract running it. What do you want, 7? Oh, that's fine. 8, 40, 60, whatever there is. And they had been letters accepted. But they have to buy it. Malcolm says, how much money do you need, Terry? And I said, $100 million. Minimum. Maybe more. Okay, we can do that. I said, okay. Asked Frank what he wanted. You know, Frank told him how much he needed to make a motor. And I said, well, wait a minute, one thing, we ain't building it here. You tell me which country I'm going to, and I'm going to that country, and I'm going to design the plant there. And the people are going to help me do it. Therefore, they have equity. If we come in there with our little red wagon again and say you got to do it our way or no way, it will never happen good. Never. You got to let the people there have a piece of the deal. You know, they got to feel like they belong. So we got through that, and he said, okay. I said, what you want is know what's going on. Okay, hire a cameraman for each one of us and follow us around. Take a movie. Then you got proof positive who did what and how. Okay. So then I go in, I talk to the New York guy. Malcolm's going to buy the most wealthy dealers in America, all of them. I said, you got to be shitting me. That's a lot of money. He said, not a problem. We got $1.5 billion. $1.5 billion. said, well, that's a lot of money. No shit. What happens then? The dealers are open 24 hours a day. They have a sales booth, which he developed, virtual reality. Get in, punch in, 450 Mercedes, that's what you're doing. Volvo, that's what you're doing. It changes the screen and the motif and gives you the ride of that vehicle. They cost $500,000 a piece. No big deal for Malcolm. So I'm sitting in the airplane, and finally dawned on me what the sucker was doing. He would have been the biggest power in the automotive industry worldwide. Nobody on this earth would have more power than Malcolm Bricklin. But that wasn't the cool part. The IPO was the cool part. An initial purchase offering. See, there's only 2 dealerships in the world that are on the stock market. They're almost all exclusively privately owned. Malcolm would have the largest nucleus of car dealers in the entire world and make an initial stock offering. That was done by Drexel Burnham. Ever heard of it? Okay. And it would be worth at least $5 billion to 10 as a stock transfer. Now, there was a fellow named Milliken that worked for Drexel Burnham that got caught and jailed and fined $500,000 or $600,000 or more. And he was the deal that wrote the program. The deal was coming through. Global Motors bought Yugo for $20 million. They were due January 1, 1989 to pay for it. That was my money to play with. And Frank's. We would split up because we had the early development. And Malcolm would be creating this dealer. I don't want to say network because it was like it wasn't a network, it was a blanket. It covered the world. It was amazing. And be the biggest power in the world, automotively and economically. And he figured that all out by himself. And it was a cool idea. And in January, they put Milliken in jail. Junk bonds, which were the $1.5 billion, went into the deep 6 dive and became worthless. I don't think they've sold junk bonds yet, do they?
They're still selling
them.
yeah.
It's not a market that's you hear about, look at, or anything. Well, junk bonds in 1980 was a big deal. And if he'd have pulled that son of a bitch off, it would have been one fantastic coup.
You say Milliken, you mean Michael Milken.
Milliken,
yeah, okay.
The guy that got caught.
Right, he's a
The rest of them still do it. But
billionaire
he got
philanthropist now, but yeah, it's who you're talking about.
Yeah. But that was Malcolm's 1988 program. Now, I can't remember what year it was. The rack program was another brilliant one. Still viable to this moment. Even more viable today. That was, you take, I'll date it because it was in the 80s. You take a Oldsmobile, Chevrolet, Monte Carlo, Supreme, Pontiac, yada, yada, yada. And every dealer's got some on his lot which are beat up. Rode hard, put away wet. Okay, in I think it's Gainesville or Gainesville. Anyway, in Florida, I found a plant with the railroad siding that was about 100,000 feet that we could come in there, and the deal was it was RAC, R-A-C, remanufactured American car. And what they did, they come in, they're torn down, the engines are pulled. Jasper Engines that took the deal to build the engines. Train carload at a time. Using all 350s or GM configuration engines. Transmissions, we had a transmission guy, We had interiors set up, we could make them. They would all be repainted with their original color, according to the serial number, and sold back to the dealer for $8,800. All the work was warranted by Goodyear, all over America, and that was contracted too. Now that was a hell of a deal, because people, a lot of folks can't go out and pay $30,000 for a goddamn car. Especially when you get through with Obama and what he's doing to our world, and everybody's working a part-time job and making $7 an hour. Okay, change it to 10, who cares? It's all relative. There's no such thing as raising a salary by itself in America. Not for everybody that works for minimum wage. That's insane. Economics 101, lowest class you want to talk about, will tell you that is not a marketable program. So here you go, you do this thing, and Malcolm had, we can sell this car back with a warranty, we can make money, the dealer gets rid of a piece that he cannot sell because it's over 100,000 miles or 200,000, whatever. Everybody gets a tire, everybody gets a new interior, everybody gets a new paint job, get a new motor, warranty. Service by Goodyear. How cool is that? A great idea.
What was the profit margin on per car on average?
About $400 per car for us, net, after man. I did the man part. I did the layout. It was all computers. But that one there, although John knows I hate them, I knew that I had to do it that way. I had to tear the cars down, I had to categorize them, and I had to package everything out and back without changing, without touching it, other than pushing the thing off the tray. In other words, we did not have to have skilled labor. We didn't build the motors there. We didn't do anything that took any high dollar tooling. The highest dollar tooling we had was always, and I could do it with 50-some people. Tear them down and put them together. In an assembly line, type stand with a car wash conveyor. Don't need nothing fancy, just as long as they keep moving. You cannot allow them not to move. You can't station build. That's another DeLorean disaster. When you station build, you're asking for trouble. You're guaranteed what we call in Ford, i.e. islands. Islands in the sun. You go over in the island over here and they're using the heater for the seat vinyl as an oven for their stove. Because they're off to the side, they're not tied to the line. Therefore, they can do the job very badly, very quickly, and sit down. I went into a Lorraine plant, and at 3 o'clock, I said, where's the tire, where's the seat guy? Oh, they always leave by now. There was seats piled all over the goddamn place. Raggedest looking things you ever saw in your life. They went home early, because they built enough to feed the line, but they built garbage with a capital G. I fixed their ass. I put their line on a goddamn conveyor. If you don't get it done in the right time, you go with it. But that's what you can't do. That's why the stationary build was not viable. It's not viable for a production environment. Unless you've got better dedicated people, then you can do it. I think the it's just the P1. Shoot, once they just bought one for $1 million. McLaren. Now that's station built. They only build one a day, but it's station built. But they have six or seven stations that they build, and they sequentially build. Now, I think it's interesting. What other question could I answer? So I'll just rattle on forever about the same shit. Anything that you can see, any picture you want to know about. Interesting part, there's a picture there of my car going around Michigan International Speedway sports car track. They loved it. They called back. I beat everybody with a B-modified Pontiac that was built for racing that had stock shocks and stock tires on it. And I'd never been around a sports car track in my life. But I had fun doing it. We've been at Waterford. Mid-Ohio, all racing, Laguna Seca. I've been around that and went down that great big hill that they call, that you fall off of. You see it on the movie, they just, so I've been over that thing. That is an eye-opener. Oh boy. But we've managed to keep the car going, but there was a lot of people at Bricklin that made it happen that don't get credit.
I've been great listening to you.
Well, I hope
And
you
we
like
gotta
it.
get back to
I wish I had
Hampton.
5 days.
Where are you going?
Hampton,
Oh, okay.
Virginia.
Oh, good.
And if you need a little bit bigger building to start a new assembly line, I got one right down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got a bigger one.
Yeah, it's about 2 football fields.
Oh, good Lord. I wouldn't want to do that. I don't think I
Right
can.
in Chatham.
Before y'all go, do y'all want a quick ride?
Well, I hope to move to just as soon as I get rid of my house.
I got
And
Well, if you ever want to come back, you're welcome anytime.
I really appreciate it.
We love it. I've been asked to work on DeLoreans, but I said I've got too much equity in what I'm doing.
My first dune buggy, I built the frame out of the same size metal
Mm-hmm.
and everything, just like what these are built out of. I thought it was.
No, we tried to use the pictures to show diversification, but the body pictures, the build pictures are very important because it really shows what we did in the broom factory. We actually made a car.
2 years ago, with the club, we went to D.C.
Right.
and we got to tour the Tucker, the guy that got his museum.
The guy in Alexandria.
Right.
Yeah.
David
And that was really amazing because he had every drawing. They had threw away all the drawings, and he went and dug them out of the trash. And he had
We've
every
got-
drawing.
I've got all the drawings for the Bricklin.
We had my daughter sit here with a 50 or 60 sheet per minute copier.
If you ever have a chance to
And
watch
we
the,
programmed
there's
into a
two
hard
guys
drive
that did a
every
documentary
piece of
while the
paper
DeLorean
that
operation
we could
was
find
still running.
out of Dick Walker's
No,
life.
this is the Pennebaker documentary.
All of mine also, of course, my,
And they're pulling their hair out trying to get their
I
hands
never
on
was a
some
CUF
Lotus
cover your
drawings.
hands,
Right.
never.
Just saying,
And I
You
didn't
know,
really care because
we have our own
there
people that are supposed to be designing the interior, we have no
My
dimensions
name's,
from Lotus, we
my
have
first
nothing.
name's
We have no
Preston,
way to
so I
design
kind
the damn
of
car.
hooked
They're
up
pulling their
with
hair out.
Preston
When they
Tucker.
finally do it, show
And
it.
the thing that
It's
amazed me
very
about the Tucker,
cursory, there's not any
was-
level of detail.
the doors, where they rolled up at the top.
Oh, sure,
It's like
It's the
exploded
same
parts
thing
shoes, what
you
they
were
are.
buying
Modified
on
exploded
Ford.
parts shoes.
right.
With the gutter part,
Right,
on the
right.
top. And I said,
Yeah,
man,
that's
where
What's the
did Ford get
documentary
that
where I
out
think
here
it's
from?
Colin
huh?
Chapman, they were asking for
You know,
something.
well, the
pissed off
off-camera-
and lose the rooms.
Oh, no,
Before you
that's
go
not
out.
Colin Chapman, it's one of,
I
DeLorean's
like
people
Tucker, but
Okay.
who's trying to
Tucker
liaison.
himself,
With Lotus.
Yeah.
if you watch, if you look
Barry
at the
Wills
movie
was that
again,
fellow's name.
look at the people.
He was a
who
You
leader.
remember what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yes.
My wife and I
I'll go
went
get
that
them
movie.
for
We
you.
both
Yeah.
cried.
But what they
Yeah.
were basically glorified
Yeah.
exploded.
I could
parts
see why.
diagrams. Looks like something out of a children's
But
manual.
Because
anyway,
we've been on the other side.
Right.
And I kind of.
You know, we've been pushing the car.
right.
That.
We've been doing that stuff.
What
And
happened
that's,
with Lotus.
that's a different
the
world.
only reason
Right.
Colin
Okay.
Chapman didn't end up.
but I think that the Tucker
Yeah, he died the
story,
day before he was going to be indicted.
Right.
you have to
Of a heart
get
attack.
into what he was trying to do.
He was going to be indicted the
And he
next
spent
day.
$54 billion.
But see, he was a
Now,
British citizen, so the
He
British
made
could
some
indict him.
grand
They
mistakes.
could-
DeLorean,
yeah.
you never.
And them were
you
big
never
dollars.
died. You
They were
never
like
came, you never let it
$48.
leave.
Yeah,
It should have been a
but
success, but it
there
wasn't.
is
Well,
one
somebody
documentary
in
where the
our
Lotus engineer
government-
says, there was a tendency for us just to
Pardon?
push all the
Somebody in
DeLorean
our
crap aside,
government
and then when the
didn't
DeLorean
want
didn't
him.
show up,
Well,
we'd bring it
the
all out.
government
Oh,
was
yes, we're working on it
responding
here.
to who?
They got so bad that DeLorean
General
actually
Motors.
set up
Right.
shop
That's who
in
they're
the
responding to.
Lotus
Right.
facility.
And
in
I
what was
think that was the
World War
crime
II infirmary. It's this
that meant
god-awful
something.
wooden building. I mean, it
I
looks
think
like
the
crap.
other crime
And this is, okay, here's your
was that
building.
Right.
And just to try to keep hold on these
had
people.
he not
And
thrown
we
away
have
a
guys
whole
saying,
bunch
well,
of
you know,
money,
has Lotus done
he would,
the
54 million,
tubing specs for
$1940,
this? No,
which
they
is
haven't done it
300
yet. Well, you
to
know,
400
Right.
today.
they were supposed to be done 6 months ago. When are they going to get to
They
it?
couldn't have stopped it,
I saw a,
Lotus
Was that
basically
stock
threw the damn thing
bullshit.
together at the last
Right.
minute. So
but he
here's your
didn't
car.
handle himself
Good
well.
Well, the big loss
Like stuff
Took
like
the money and
Where's
ran.
the American
I
public?
saw a.
Oh, I think so. I
Yes,
sent it to
because
Tucker
here's an
in
American coming
1948.
in,
It's
and
also
the British
from-
government wouldn't give him a dime.
And Glenn Praise helped the Tucker too.
DeLorean came in and they
Broken
offered
arrow.
him up a good chunk of money.
I'm from
Yeah,
Tulsa, Glenwood, right?
Yeah, I'm
They didn't want the car, they
from
wanted
not
to do
far
something
from
with Northern
Tulsa.
Ireland.
I own
They said, we'll tell
a
you what, you
building
can have the money, you gotta
in a
build it
house
here.
in
Yep.
Arch City,
Um,
Kansas,
But I
Oh, yeah.
also saw,
Which is- you know, just 8
Sure.
miles
a
from
guy up in
the
northern
Yeah.
Virginia is
not
restoring
far
a
from
spree.
Tulsa.
Yeah, I
77, I think it is.
I like to
78.
sell that.
Okay,
one.
that's
Yeah.
a fun one.
my wife had